All right, have and have not fans. Now it's time to dive a little deeper into the episode Searching for a Mother's Love. And one scene that was pretty brief, but also a scene worthy of note. It has to do with Landon and Charles, who seem to be on much better terms this season than they were last season. If I'm not mistaken, it's only been a handful, and I mean literally a handful of days since Charles left Savannah, Georgia to go back on the campaign trail. And, I remember at the time, him and Landon were on pretty rocky ground at the point because Charles wanted Candace to be, his right-hand woman, the lady on his arm to the inaugural ball, I believe, and things like that. And eventually to be the first lady. And, of course, Landon knows who Candace is and knows what she's about and didn't want to have Charles jeopardize his campaign with, this street level horror, for a lack of a better phrase. And you really can't blame Landon considering he knows what Candace is about. But then Charles, as Chucky, revealed that he has his own skeletons in a closet and he isn't as clean cut as he appears to be. And once Landon, finally stopped going around Charles's back to kind of sabotage his plans, that's when those two seem to be getting on good terms. I remember there was one time where they had just gotten out of a speech. I believe Charles actually did a speech right in front of his bus. Got back on, him, Landon, and his people checked the numbers, and he was doing pretty good, like really in the lead. And I believe Landon and Charles kind of had a talk where, Landon apologized for misjudging Charles. And that was pretty much it. I wouldn't say they were buddy-buddy, but they were definitely on seemingly better terms at that given point in time. Now it seems to be something else, Landon came in to fix his tablet or whatever. I believe he said it was for his kids due to Secret Service protection and whatnot. And then they kind of just, I don't know, Charles seemed a little more, it wasn't that he was drunk or anything. He just seemed a little more loose in terms of being, you really saw so much Charles that Chucky didn't seem to exist at that given point in time. He was just saying Landon, why are you doing this in terms of, why are you even here with me in terms of being my campaign manager? And Landon is hey, I love the job and whatnot. And that's, Charles I figured. But no, it's I like you as a person in terms of you're an honest politician. And given Landon's line of work being Maggie Day's right-hand man when she was alive, it makes sense that he would have been involved in terms of working with a lot of other politicians back in the day. Not to mention coming off the heels of the Jim Cryer, David Harrington campaign that went up in smoke, no pun intended there, it makes sense that he would want to, I guess you could say and again, I don't mean this in terms of relationship way, have feelings in terms of, hey, I actually like this guy that I'm working for this time. And he talks about him being honest. I'm actually kind of confused by that because Landon saw Chucky up close and personal. Charles literally told him, I'm not as clean cut as I appear to be. So I'm wondering what Landon is meaning by all this. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. Maybe as far as Landon knows, and pretty much what he says is true, that Charles does seem to care about people. The platform he stands for politically is just and right, and he is going by the books on that. And he's not willing to waver for anyone. In a way, I can see that, but it looks like, I guess you could put it this way. Charles is kind of like Jim Cryer in the sense that, he is a good businessman. He's a good politician. And the things he wants to do to change, the country, for a lack of a better phrase, when he gets office is actually going to benefit a lot of people. Keep in mind, Jim Cryer was saying the same kind of things when he was running for governor. I mean, I remember when he was supposed to get up there and say that he was going to fall out of the running due to the whole Celine thing. But at the same time, he made a comeback speech look, even though things might not be right in my home life, keep in mind that I've run several successful businesses. I've done things on the bench to change the shape of this town. So even though he does have a rocky background and he does things that really would be frowned upon in the public eye, he is still a good politician. So I can kind of see where Landon is coming from with that. It's just that when it comes to people, he doesn't treat women any better than Jim Cryer, to be honest. But it did get kind of weird though, when it went to Landon inviting him, hey, let's have a drink tonight. What are you doing tonight? Well, just sitting on the bed watching news channels till I go to sleep. Let's go down and have some drink. Not as a assistant and a boss, but as a friend. He's like, yeah, I like that as a friend. What really has, that actually was a pretty nice scene. It's just like, putting Landon aside in terms of, his lifestyle. It was kind of cool to see those two kind of getting along. However, we've seen what happened when Landon takes people down to bars. Remember what he did to Jeffrey and the Marriott? I forgot the name of the hotel. But he is keen on getting people drunk, taking them upstairs, and trying to have his way. Which this interesting picture on the screen now, I am not really looking forward to what this might lead up to. I really am not. But all I know is Landon is on, his knee. Charles at the end of the bed. We can assume this is after they come back from drinking. Lord only knows what's going to happen with that. So with that being said, with these two, I guess you could say, igniting a true friendship rather than just a work relationship, do you think Landon might try to move in on, I guess you could say, Candace's territory, if you will? Or is Charles pretty much, hey, even though I'm drunk, I'm stuck in my ways and I know who I am. So Landon, if you try anything with me, then it's lights out for you. So did anybody else find that scene a little awkward? I will admit, I'd rather watch Charles and Landon in that awkward scene in terms of just dialogue than Justin pushing himself on Jeffrey all the time. That's all I'm saying with that. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think is the future of Landon in terms of, his political career, working with Charles? What if Candace eventually comes to the picture again? Will he try to sabotage her or, just go with the flow? So let me know your thoughts below and I'll talk to you later.